Most people are told at some point that they have potential. It is a comfortable word. It implies that you have a reservoir of natural ability just waiting for the right moment to overflow. We carry that label like a shield, assuming that the spark of talent is the primary requirement for a different life. Our culture reinforces this by obsessing over the natural. We highlight the 12-year-old coding prodigy, or the basketball star who supposedly never touched a weight until the pros. These stories of effortless genius are addictive because they suggest that success is a lottery, something that is either in your blood or it isn't. This creates a convenient exit ramp. If we decide that success is a byproduct of innate gifts, we are no longer responsible for our own stagnation. If you aren't where you want to be, you can simply point to your lack of a special gift as the reason. It is a psychological safety net that keeps you from ever having to truly test your limits. Look at the people who actually maintain their position at the top of any field for a decade or more. When you strip away the genetic lottery and the lucky breaks, a specific pattern emerges in their daily schedule. There is a specific mechanism that dictates whether potential actually converts into a career or stays as a hollow complement. That mechanism is the ability to do the same boring, difficult things when the initial excitement has vanished. The separator isn't a hidden talent. It is the cumulative weight of daily, controllable choices. Success is built on those exact moments where you have absolutely every excuse to stop, but you don't. Every new goal starts with a burst of energy. Whether launching a business or starting a fitness journey, the first week is easy. At this stage, the person relying on talent and the person relying on a system look identical. Both are in the gym at 6 a.m. Both are focused and high energy. But relying on that initial feeling is a trap. For the naturally gifted, the early stages often come with quick wins. They see progress without much friction, which teaches them to associate work with a feeling of inspiration. They move when they feel the rush, and they stop when they don't. Compare this to someone who operates on a schedule rather than a mood. They don't check their internal temperature to see if they feel like working. They have a list of mandatory actions that must occur regardless of their emotional state. Their engine runs on a protocol, not a feeling. The turning point happens 3 months in. The novelty is gone. The work has become a grind. The talented individual, who has been running on the fumes of excitement, hits a wall and stalls. They wait for the motivation to return. The person with a system, meanwhile, keeps moving forward because their process doesn't require inspiration to function. Relying on a feeling is a strategy with a 100% failure rate over the long term. Human emotions fluctuate too much to be the foundation of a career. A system, however, produces output regardless of whether you are tired, frustrated, or bored. Natural ability often carries a hidden cost, a fragile ego. When someone is praised for being gifted their whole life, they start to believe that being good at things is a part of their identity. If they have to work hard, it feels like a sign that they might not be as special as everyone said. Eventually, every path leads to a moment of genuine difficulty.
You meet someone faster. You encounter a problem you can't solve in 10 minutes. For the person who has always relied on talent, this isn't just a challenge, it's an identity crisis. To protect their ego, they quit. Walking away allows them to maintain the illusion that they could have been great if they had tried. It is a defense mechanism. They would rather fail by choice than risk failing because their talent wasn't enough to carry them through. A person built on a foundation of daily repetition doesn't have this problem. They don't see themselves as naturally good. They see themselves as someone who works. When they hit a wall, they don't take it personally. They just see it as a technical problem that requires more volume or a better approach. Talent creates an identity that breaks under tension. A disciplined framework uses that same tension as a signal to adjust and grow. One is a glass ornament, the other is a muscle. This chart tracks the actual output of 2 individuals over a 5-year window. We aren't looking at potential here, we are looking at what actually got done. We start with 2 lines at 0. The first line represents the talented, erratic performer. Year 1 looks incredible. They have a burst of genius and a high volume of work. But look at years 2 through 5. The line goes horizontal. Without a system to sustain the effort, they spend 4 years coasting on the work they did in the first 12 months. The second line represents the person who simply shows up every day. Their progress is less dramatic in the beginning. It looks slow, but because they never stop, the line maintains its angle. By year 5, the cumulative output of the steady worker is miles ahead of the prodigy who stopped when the work got boring. We see this in the NFL every season. A first-round draft pick with world-class speed often disappears from the league in 3 years because they never learned how to study a playbook. Meanwhile, an undrafted player who spends every single offseason obsessing over technique ends up with a decade-long career. Over a long timeline, the frequency of your efforts matters more than the intensity of your best day. Erratic genius eventually gets lapped by consistent, average work. We need to stop waiting for the cinematic moment. We want to believe that greatness is a single, heroic breakthrough, a flash of brilliance that changes everything. But that is a story we tell ourselves to avoid the reality of the work. The reality is that success is the byproduct of repetition. It is the willingness to do the same unglamorous tasks for the 500th time. It is showing up when there are no cameras, no applause, and no immediate results. If you are looking for the reason you haven't reached your goals, look at your calendar, not your DNA. The bottleneck is the gap between what you say you want and what you are willing to do on a Tuesday afternoon when you're tired. It is time to let go of the idea that you are waiting for your gifts to activate. Take ownership of your schedule today. Stop looking for inspiration and start building a system that doesn't need it. The only way to reach your potential is to stop talking about it and start repeating the actions that lead there. Talent is the starting line. Discipline is the finish line. Choose to show up. Like, subscribe, and comment if you're ready to build discipline.